Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Angelika's Journal. And I'm Angelika, and we're going to do a garden tour. Just an update of what the garden's looking like now. And today is August 28th, so it's the end of August. We've had some cold nights. It's ranged from 9 degrees till 13 degrees roughly. That's Celsius. Um, so things are starting to go yellow. Things are starting to, um, not produce as much. Starting to get more mold, not mold, but like the mildew, the white mildew. So I will show you how it's looking. As you can see here on the deck, there are no more plants up on the deck. That bench, I need to clean it, and I have to put all the um, things for the garden I'm going to be packing away in that bench. It is a storage bench. And then my little bistro set there, the chairs need to be scrubbed down with a wire brush, painted with a rust inhibitor, and then painted black. I may not do that till spring though, so I'll show you that in the spring. But other than that, it's all cleared off, because one thing I realized is if I'm doing any wood projects out here, I need a lot more room. Plus, those plants are starting to, struggle. So I will take you down to the garden now. And I still have to put those things away, the tool, because there's no more plants I'm starting that needs protection. And this needs to be put into the bench. Some of it gets brought in the house, and then that table gets cleaned, and it will be empty for the winter. I may take it in and store it, I'm not sure yet. And then here are a view of the fruit garden. And we will start over here. So Scott put his wheelbarrow here. The garden tools are still there, the big ones. And then there's the raspberry. We've had a couple of bowls of raspberries already. And there's still another bowl on there, and that's just from one plant. And then the grapes are growing taller. Their roots are getting established. So next year we will have grapes, if it survives the winter. I will be covering it with burlap or with something, just to protect it from the winds. That is the northwest side of the property. And then, as you know, over on this side, if we look up, that is a big spruce tree, which is protected, which is basically in the north corner of the property. So it will be protecting the grapes from any cold winds. And that fence behind it is pretty tall, so it will be protecting it also. So hopefully it will survive our winters. In our climate, they do need to be protected. And then next to it is the watermelon cantaloupe. I don't think we'll get any cantaloupe, but there is one watermelon on it that is a fair size. Let me see if I can show you. There was a couple the squirrel already ate. Where is it? Oh, don't tell me the watermelon's gone. Oh no, it's right there. See right there? It's about a 2 to 3 inch diameter on it. Did you see that when I pointed? Oh no, a little lower. Right there. I'm going to take a small piece of tool and tie it up. Oh, there's a cantaloupe in the back. Can you see that cantaloupe? I can't see what's on the screen because of the sun, but right there. I believe that's a cantaloupe. So we have one cantaloupe, one watermelon. There's some other ones starting, but I don't think it has enough time to fully produce. Oh, there's another one up here. Can you see that one up there? That is a watermelon. These are the watermelon leaves. The cantaloupe leaves look similar to like a cucumber. And then there is the 4 o'clocks. And then we'll back up. And then here, these are the 2 mints with the strawberry in between. Strawberries on 2 tiers. We've gotten quite a few strawberries already. A couple of bowls, and there's probably another one in there, and there's lots more to come. And they produce pretty quickly. Like all those flowers, if they get pollinated, we're gonna have like a bowl of strawberries every week pretty much. And then there's the rhubarb. That leaf is humongous. It's probably a 2-foot diameter. We're definitely going to have to move it next year. It needs a lot more room. And then there's the chamomile and the coneflower and the geranium. There is the raspberry. It is growing. It's not producing, but that's the one that produces in the spring. There is another one behind that green little fence, a little baby one. I'm hoping for next year that it will produce. I just won't cut back the branch, and hopefully, I don't know, we'll see next year. If I get, fed up of it, I may just dig it up and get a new spring one. And then here is the baby's breath. As you can see, it really spread out. It's huge. And there is the viola, and I left a few clovers, which next spring I'll be removing all the clovers and any other weeds, because clover is a weed. And then when I remove the clover, I'll keep doing it until like end of July, early August, and then I'll just let it be again. And then if we go over here, I think this one turned out pretty nice. So we got the bird water fountain right there. Got the poppies, the yellow, which there is marigold, and that other one. It was supposed to be calendula, but it never took. What I might do is try calendula again next year, because I don't know. I may just go for all marigolds and have like that yellow poof ball one, have that in the 2 corners, and then all around it having the rust colored one with the yellow. I don't know, we'll see. But I do need a bright color there, so it's either yellow or white. But because the baby's breath is behind it and it's white, I figured the yellow. And that whole picture, like you've got the pink and red, the blue on the other side, the yellow orange in the middle, and then the white background, that whole thing, I think it's really a pretty scene. You know what I mean? And then I did put my little ladybug at the base of the fire bowl there. And since the sun is behind me, I'm going to move backwards so it doesn't glare in the camera. So then here, petunias are, like that shallow pot is deep enough. Like, look how full it is. And then the milkweed in front of it finally took off. We've got red flowers on it. And then the nasturtium is in front of it. And I like the different leaves. They contrast each other. The milkweed is like, has a reddish tint to the leaves. And then the nasturtium has like a cream color variegation. And I think it's a nice contrast, like they're total opposites of each other. And we do have one little flower that's dying there. It's done. And then we got that one. And in the background, you can see that's where I put one of the red geraniums from the deck and the pansy that, I don't know, when I went on vacation, it kind of struggled. And I don't know why. Maybe it just didn't have enough sun, or it had too much sun. I'm not sure. But they're still blooming in with the peas there. Those are the peas. And you can see the white mildew on the peas. Yet it's still growing. Like, look how tall it's going, that one. But we didn't get much peas this year. This year was not a good growing season. It was fine for the flowers, but the vegetables, a lot of them struggled. We didn't get as much as we normally do. And then over on this side, I put the baby's breath that was up on the deck. I put here. And then there's all the tomatoes. Some are ready to be picked, some are not. And you can see here on the ground, there's the Tiny Tim cherry tomatoes. And they've got some too. And they're a little bigger than cherry, aren't they? It could be because I gave them a restricted amount of space for the pot. I didn't put them in a very big pot. It's kind of small, and it's not full soil all the way to the top. It's about 2 inches below the surface, like the rim of the pot. So maybe because of lack of space, it wants to survive, so it's producing a bunch of fruit, and the fruit is really big. Usually they're smaller than that. So that worked out, but that could be because of the pot, not the weather. And look at all those tomatoes. There's more on the other side. All right, and then we're going to continue going backwards. And then we'll stop here. And then there is that whole row. These are the portulaca. Again, the shallow dish. It's doing beautifully. Like, look at those colors. Like, oh my gosh, they are gorgeous. Too bad they don't get longer, like taller. They are a low growing, like 6-inch kind of flower, but aren't they absolutely beautiful? Everything from pink, red, rose color, yellow, orange, like the whole spectrum. They're beautiful. And then of course the cosmos, absolutely gorgeous. You remember how a month ago the flowers were all white? Well, I guess the pink just took a little while to catch up. Look at, it's like equal balance between the white and the pink now. And there's more coming. What I am going to do is, some of them look like they've gone to seed. So those, I'm going to wait a little bit more. And then I'm going to snip them off and put them in the pot. And see if next year they're going to come up again. Some annual flowers will produce seeds, just like the borage. And they'll produce seeds. And the seeds, if you put them in the pot, they will come back next year. And then down there, the white flower, way down there, is a begonia. Like, yeah, and there's a weed next to it, but we won't look at that. Yeah, like it wasn't doing anything for, what, 2 months. It just sat there. Now, all of a sudden, it's like twice the size. It really filled in. That one, though, it grows from tubers. And so I am going to have to dig it up and bring it in the house. Otherwise, it's not going to survive the winter. It will survive year after year if we dig it up, put it in a pot, take it in the house, have it in the sunny window, then come spring, plant it outside again. And, doing that, it will survive. And then on this side, that is the sage, the stevia. And then behind the stevia is the rosemary. And there's the broccoli. We do have some flowerets on it, but I haven't been picking them, so they're just going to seed. I'm not one for brassicas. We have quite a few of those cabbage moths flying around, so I'm just not good with brassicas because of the, the caterpillar, the cabbage caterpillar, and then it turns into a cabbage moth. Yeah, that whole thing there. I'm no good with it. I did have tulle on it for the longest time, but it just postponed it, but they still came in. So, and then of course my beautiful garlic chive. I'm going to be picking that and cutting it up into little pieces and dehydrating it. And then with the dianthus, you can see there's a clump of onion chives. So I don't know if I'm going to pick them or if I'm going to leave them and hope they come back next year. I think the garlic chive is a perennial, but the onion chive I think is a annual. I'll have to check. But the dianthus should come back next year, as long as the roots don't get frostbitten. And then of course the pak choi. The seeds are just about ready to be picked. Some of them are ready. So I'll just drop it in the pot. And then when the weather is permanently on the cooler side, I will just cut down all the branches, put it on top, and then just leave it. And then next spring I'll put some sheep manure over top, about an inch or two, and it should come back. If not, I probably have more seeds indoors. There's the other geranium. I brought it out. And then if we turn around, there is the fuchsia, the azalea, and the gerbera. Now all three of them can be brought indoors. Like the azalea was sold as an indoor plant. Gerbera, I've seen one of my daughters used to have one, so it does grow indoors. And then a fuchsia, whatever, I have seen, excuse me, I saw on Pinterest somebody have it as a hanging plant in their living room in a sunny window. So, and then of course all the herbs. They all ready to be picked and hung upside down. You tie it and hang it upside down. The basil, though, I probably should have done it sooner. It's starting to go to flower. And some of the leaves are going yellow. So I will have to trim it. And the ones, I think with basil, when it goes to flower, it's no longer good. Like it goes bitter. So I may have to cut those branches out and then just tie up what's left. But who knows? Today is 30. It's supposed to be 31. Tomorrow's supposed to be 30. So who knows? I'll just pinch off the flower branches and maybe it'll grow some more. And then here we've got peppers, bell peppers, the eggplant, and the hot peppers. And we did pick a few peppers, which were fine. The eggplants, I don't think those 5-gallon buckets are good for them. They've been blooming, but their leaves are so big and they've gotten so big, they haven't been getting pollinated. I haven't seen any fruit yet. The bees are just not finding them. So I think next year, those pots over there that I use for the flowers from the dollar store, the copper one, well, the terracotta one on top of the black pot there, and then there are these here. I'm going to get a bunch of those from the dollar store next year and plant the eggplant. The bell peppers are already in one of those. The hot peppers, I might put them in it, and the eggplant. And then I'm going to use these 5-gallon buckets for the tomatoes, because yes, the tomatoes are growing great in there, but we've had a lot of tomatoes because of the way the weather's hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. A lot of the tomatoes are cracked. Also, they dry out so quickly because they have a big root system. So I'm wanting to, because one of those Rubbermaid containers is cracked. I'm going to have to toss it out. And I don't know if there's going to be any others that are cracked. So I was thinking using the 5-gallon bucket for those tomatoes, have 1 tomato per bucket, have the soil up to like an inch from the rim, an inch or two, and that's a lot of root space for one plant, and it'll be easier to keep it upright, because the way it's going now, they're just keeling over left, right, and center. I keep having to tie them and clip them, and I'm thinking maybe it's easier to control if it's just 1 plant per container. You put 2 or 3 sticks, you tie rope between those sticks, and it keeps it more contained. So that's, I'm going to try next year. Because I don't know, I think these guys here all need the size of pot like that one, like those. And they're from the dollar store. They're what, $3 a pot, $3.50. So like even that blue one over there that the geranium's in, the pink one back there that the baby's breath is in, they're all from the dollar store. And the pink and the blue I've had for probably 3 years now. The pink one may be, yeah, the pink one may be even longer, maybe 4 years. So they do last. Anyways, enough talking, moving on. Okay, so the bean on the right, which is the one I did not think would grow as well as the one on the left. Well, the one on the right is having a heyday. It's just going up and up and up. Now remember, with the cold weather, I kept stalling to plant them. So I did plant them like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so now they're growing. They're even starting, you can't see any of the flowers yet, they're just buds, but the one on the right is starting to flower. But I think just this year, with the weather the way it's been, I'm not going to get any cucumbers or beans. And that's fine. You have some good years and some bad years, right? And then if we go over here, the hollyhocks, see? It's just not growing. It should be like 6 feet tall by now. And then the delphinium that's behind it that likes a partial shade, it's growing. It's just only like a foot, maybe a little over a foot, 1.5 feet at the most. It's not growing much either. It's just the season. My daisies there in the front, I have 2 flowers, that's it. But the poppies didn't seem to mind. And then those 3 that we planted got nice and big. Look at them here. Hold on. Oh, now put this down. Look at that. They're beautiful. Like they really spread out and got big. Like look at the echinacea. Is that it? Yeah, right there. Echinacea. I've never had it that big. I planted it 2 years ago and it never came back. And look how big that one is. They like their own space. So they should be coming back next year. And I do not know what that is under the lilac, that clump there. That could be a weed, I don't know. Or maybe something shot up a root there. The leaves actually look a bit, nah, not really. I don't know. We'll see what it is next year. And there's another clump over here too. Yeah, this one right here. It looks the same leaf. Hopefully it's not a weed. Hopefully it's something else coming up. But yeah, those are doing really well. All right, and then my zucchini. Oh, I have to back up because of the sun. Maybe we'll go over here. So there's the zucchini. I've got another 2 fruit. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I probably have 8 more zucchinis developing. There's a green one back there hidden. Yeah, and you can see what I mean about the mildew. And that's normal for this one too, has a lot of it. That's normal for zucchini and pumpkin and all that. The pumpkin, we did pick the one. I guess I'll go over here. Sorry if the sun is glaring. I just wanted to show you. We did pick the one from the upper part up here. But there's another one right in there. We actually picked the one too early. So we're going to let that one go for a while. We did pick some celery already for soup. And there's the... Look at the zinnia. Aren't they beautiful? Like, look at it from this side. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look, I am definitely going to be growing those again. And then we'll move over here so you can see this side. So we picked some carrots already. And there's the borage in the middle. I need to put 2 stakes in it and then tie it with string. Because when it produces seed, I want it to go in its own pot, not in the neighboring pot. So I need to put 2 sticks and tie it with string all around the whole thing and keep them more contained. And then you've got these guys here. See those marigolds? I was thinking that type to put in that long box on with the poppy and the forget-me-not. I think that would be really nice over there. And then the violas are starting to dwindle a little bit. And the alyssum. And then I think the only thing left is the other side here. Again, you can see the celery. The a leek from both sides. We picked one already. But they're not very big. I'm thinking they may need a bigger pot. So if I switch these tomatoes out to those 5-gallon buckets, then I can use that for the leek. It might grow better. That pot is too shallow. They're not getting as big as they're supposed to get. They're like really big green onions. You know, the shallots. They're like just really big ones of those. They're not really big enough to say it's a leek, but it does taste like leek. It's just they're not that big. And the one variety is better than the other. The monstrous keratin, I don't know. It's monstrous and then keratin. That one is doing a lot better and are bigger. This one on this side is the American flag variety, and this is the one that's not getting as big. And that's pretty much the whole garden. The beets, we picked a few. They're still a little small. Carrots, we picked a few. They're from the middle so that there's more room. They could spread out a little more. But they were maybe 3 inches, and they should be about 5. So they probably just need another month. And so that's pretty much the garden over here. September 1st is time to clean all this up. So I'll be cleaning those lids and the trays first. And then we got to clean the pots that are on the back. That blue bucket is there because for the Miracle-Gro. But behind it where the vinegar is, all those plant pots will be the second round of cleaning. All the pots get done and brought in the house. I do that with the vinegar. The trays I just wash with soap and water, it's fine. But because of the calcium lime buildup, I like to soak them in vinegar. So the smaller sink, I'll put vinegar water and I'll soak them in there for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. And then I'll wash it with soap. It just helps to clean it. So that's my project now, is to clean all that up. Another week. Plus anything in the house that needs a bigger pot, now would be the time to do it outside so I don't have to make a mess inside for my houseplants. And that's pretty much it. That's my garden tour. I will take you up on the deck and do a span. I'll take it from here. Oh, hold on. Let me lift you up a bit. There we go. Try to give you the best view of everything as possible. I can't wait. Next year we're going to have a lilac bush back there. It's getting there. I don't know how long it takes before we get lilacs, but oh, that's going to smell so good. Oh, I got to feed the birds. Their feeders are empty again. So there you go. That's pretty much everything. And that's how it looks end of August. So I hope you enjoyed this video, this garden update. It's starting to get to the busy, it's starting to be the busy time of year again. Spring and fall are the two busiest. In the summer we enjoy. In the winter we hide in the house. But it is fall, so harvesting is happening. The last of the fertilizer I gave today, that'll be probably the last dose, unless, who knows, maybe summer is gonna be still here until October, November. I don't know. I remember one year it was a week before Christmas before we got snow. So, but I suspect it's the last fertilizer. And you know, cutting back the tomatoes, all the lower leaves that don't have any fruit on it, I've been removing, because you want the bottom not only to be clear and free flowing, which that happens all summer long. I'm trimming lower ones, but I'm going a little higher now, because you don't want the nutrients and the moisture that's in the soil that the plant is feeding it to leaves that aren't doing anything. You want that to go to the fruit so that the fruit can, you know, have its cycle and produce what it needs to, you know, like ripen the tomatoes. So I'm starting to remove from the bottom going up any branches or leaves that have no fruit on it. I'm not doing it all in one shot, because you're not supposed to cut back more than, I think it's like 15% of the plant, or 20% or something like that. So I did some today, and then probably next Monday I'll look. I may cut some more, I may not, depending on weather, depending how congested the lower part of the plant is, dependent on how the fruit is ripening. If it's not getting any riper, then I may remove more leaves. But I don't do too much, because you don't want the plant to go into shock either. Yeah. The peas, I don't know. I'm debating to cut it back because of all the white mildew. And that one plant, that one container with the mildew, I don't see any fruit being produced. The other one still has a couple of fruit on it. It just needs to get bigger. So you take it, you know, like day by day. Every morning I'm out here watering. Every morning I check all the plants. Like that zucchini, the one on the right with the mildew. I may remove all the lower leaves so that a lot of that mildew is gone. And it can focus more on producing the fruit. But remember, with zucchini, you do not remove anything where the fruit is or higher, only what's below the fruit that it is producing, because if you go higher, then you could damage the fruit. It won't produce, it won't continue, it'll just die off, it'll rot. So yeah, there we go. I hope you enjoyed this. I will leave you here. Remember, do what makes you happy and everything else will fall into place. And remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. All right, take care, everybody. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.